Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 65th episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests for this episode include Freddie Salem from the southern rock band The Outlaws, country duo Smith and Wesley. We'll also visit from The Voice, you might remember him, Cody Belew got a brand new Christmas single, Hang Your Hat on My Christmas Tree. If you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and of course share with your friends. Our first guest, you might remember him as the guitarist from the southern rock band The Outlaws, Freddie Salem, going to be talking about a brand new CD DVD release. Freddie, great to visit with you, my friend.
Oh, good to visit with you, Cameron. Yeah, I appreciate the time, and I hope everybody's up on the Midwest and East Coast, and I'm getting there in Los Angeles here. It's pretty early, so.
There you go. Now, when was the original idea to re-release the performance from 1981? I mean, how long has this been a process, a thought process for you guys?
Well, I've got to tell you, Cameron, this whole thing took about a year to bring to fruition, and I was contacted by Bernd Ramian at MIG Corporation out of Hanover, and regarding the Rockpalast release. And it took me about a year to get it together, try to reach this person, that person, so on and so forth. There were contractual things, there was processing things as far as the sound and the visual, because it was recorded in 1981. So about a year later, it finally came out. It's been out about 6 weeks now, I would assume, and it's selling through pretty well. So that was it. Rockpalast is the entity. They've done thousands and thousands of live concerts, and a wonderful company, along with MIG. So came out, and we put it together, and I did the liner notes and compiled the photos and this and that, and the entire process, and finally it launched. And it's a beautiful package. It's a DVD and a CD as well. So nice. It's very nice.
And of course, folks know the Ghost Riders in the Sky, but I tell you, the green grass and high tides, you guys threw the kitchen sink and everything on that performance, didn't you? I mean, how cool was that? I mean, you think about a 20-minute long song. I mean, how much fun was that jam out?
Oh, well, every night, that song, it would vary from 18 minutes to 24 minutes, and we would, of course, play off the crowd. And that's why you're there. You're performing for the crowd, the paying customers and the fans. And that one just came in just under the live album version, which was over 22 minutes long, I think. But yeah, it was exciting to do that show and present that song along with Ghost Riders, especially back to back. Ghost Riders was our finisher and encore. So by then the crowd was completely obliterated, and the response was always real favorable, and we had a great time on that show. It came off well. Those songs came off well.
And Freddie, for you, the expanse of the career, rocking out, and the friends in the industry. Unfortunately, it seems like we've all endured some loss this year. And I know that Charlie Daniels' band was one of your groups that you guys hung out with. But how cool is it to be able to put some smiles on folks' faces with some memories back to 1981 like this one?
Oh, wonderful. And the response has been wonderful as well for that tenure of the Outlaws, which was a turbo-driven velocity band. We had come out of the Hurry Sundown album. Then I joined, and then I brought a little harder edge to the band, and we became a full-fledged concert band. And by then, of course, that had taken place, and but all the Southern rockers, just a shame that everybody's gone. including my partners in the Outlaws, Billy Jones and Huey Thomason. And I wish they were around to share in this whole situation. There's only two of us left that are sharing, and that's the drummer David Dix and myself, and Justin Jones, who is Billy Jones's son, and who never knew his father. Anyways, it's kind of a celebration for the three of us anyway to see this come out again and see what the response is. You never know. You never know what's happening. So.
That's right. And again, live at Rockpalast 1981. Be sure and check it out. And I want to make sure and Freddie give you a chance to let folks know where they can find the music and also keep up with everything social media wise as well. Well,
right. Amazon is probably your best place to purchase the product. It's top 5 Amazon in Europe right now. And also in this country, it's moving up. And also MIG Corporation, which, is out of Hanover, Germany. You can purchase it on there. And across the board, the pricing is about the same for the package. So, and as far as the social media goes, you can go to Facebook, and it's Freddie Salem. There's 3 different pages for me, thanks to my social media manager. So thanks a lot. And but anyways, yeah, Facebook, and that's about it. And if you want my website, it's freddie-salem.com. There's updates on there as well.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to spending some more time with this one over the coming week. Live at Rockpalast 1981 from the Outlaws, Freddie Salem. And Freddie, it has truly been a privilege to have the chance to visit with you, my friend. And hopefully we can catch up again real soon. Have a happy holiday season.
You too, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, guys, our next guests on the podcast, we've been playing some of their tunes for a bit. We got Smith and Wesley via Zoom. I'm so used to saying on the line, us radio guys, but Zoom, having a chance to visit with you guys, and thank you for your time.
You bet. It's great to be here.
Well, Todd, you said you were late for a moment, but you come across one of those Facebook videos. That happens to all of us. You
go down that rabbit hole sometimes.
Now the latest single, "The Land of Y'all," off of the album and all that. How blown away are you by the growing following that you guys have?
Well, pretty much. I think at first, Todd and I, we love, writing and singing country music. So, when we put out singles, of course, we go through a process with our label and managers and promoters and all of that. And, to us, the song was just about living in the South, and that's about what it was. But, of course, you go down that rabbit hole, as Todd says, and people start saying, well, I don't know, you think this is going to offend somebody? And I said, well, I don't know why it offends somebody. We're just talking about, life in the South, and that's about it. And so they kind of put in our mind, well, I don't know, is this going to, offend some people? But evidently it's worked out great. The single is doing good, and, we're proud for the writers, Bernie Nelson and all too, and couldn't be more proud of it.
And the way I look at it is, if Blake Shelton says y'all, then it's okay to say. And so, really it's more than just South. Texas, Oklahoma, y'all folks in Oklahoma say it. So, it's just really about a way of life, not necessarily being from the South, just where you are.
Now, let our listeners who have never met you guys before, where did Smith and Wesley first get together? How did you guys first meet, and how long did it take to know that music was a common thread for you guys?
Well, Todd started, I guess, formally in the music business before I did. I played music before Todd did. I think, I used to send him before everything got out on the internet that you could pull. I would draw strings and put little dots and teach him the chords. And then he took off with it and had his own deal with a group called Herringbone, and then had an artist development deal. And so I always played bluegrass, but then I put a band together called Brody Johnson Band. and it was my band. And Todd got to where he would come into town. Our dad was just starting to get in some bad health. So Todd would come in to see Dad. And then, I said, well, hey, you're here. Why don't we're playing over at so-and-so. Come jump up and sing with us. And just immediately everybody was like, well, wow, are y'all that brother harmony and family harmony? And plus Dad would start coming out. It got him to, have something to do. And so from that point, we put out an album in Nashville. We were going to do it on our own as Brody Johnson Band. And before we ever got the album out, we played a show with Alan Jackson down in Atlanta for Governor Deal's inauguration. And right after that show is when we got approached by a label, and they said, man, who are you guys? You guys are great, a brother duo, and let me sign you. And once you pull that album and let's re-release it, but you guys need to change your name. You need to be a duo. And so that show was the last show our dad ever saw us play. He passed away 2 weeks after that. And so his name was Wes Smith, and we decided to name the band Smith and Wesley because Todd's the oldest son, so he got the family name. He's Todd Wesley Smith, and his son and our grandfather and all that. So that's kind of where Smith and Wesley came from, and Todd and I officially formed, the group Smith and Wesley, and now we're on our third album.
Now, how hard is it for brothers to work together? I mean, how many knockdown dragouts have you guys had over the years? I mean, was that a hard thing to come together with, I guess?
Not really. We lived out in the country, so we didn't have any neighbors. The cows don't really talk to you, and the horses don't really talk to you as much. So Todd and I had to become best friends. And if we were going to have any interaction with human beings, we had to learn real quick that, we were brothers. And I think that kind of made the blood run thick. We later wound up going to the same college, Georgia Southern University, which Luke Bryan, Cole Swindell, and roomed together. We're in the same fraternity, ran the same fraternity as officers together. And so we've been pretty much, best friends as much as brothers throughout the whole process. And I would describe it more. I think we kind of know each other pretty well since we've spent so much time that it's easy to discern when one of us is venting to the other one, then take it personal. And you got to have that outlet. And so Todd, I guess what you call is real speak. So you can't wear your feelings on your shoulder too much. And I think it's worked well. But that's my story. Todd may tell you a different story.
Yeah, no, that's about it. That's about it.
Now, who was the one that first instilled music into the two of you?
Our mom. Yeah, she played piano, and so she cut a deal with our dad when we were first growing up is we wanted to play sports, and the only way she would let us play sports is if we took up piano lessons. And that was a deal she cut with our dad, not us, our dad. And so that's how we came to play piano, because we wanted to play sports originally.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I lived in a house where if you get the approval from dad, it doesn't matter what the kids say, right?
I don't know how our piano teacher was actually the organ player at our church, Beth Foster. And I don't know how she did it, me coming straight from football practice to piano practice. I mean, I might have thrown on a dry shirt, but I imagine it wasn't fun for her sometimes.
Now, what's the writing process like for the two of you guys?
Well, I guess Todd and I both write. The easy ones are when we're on radio tour. Going a week. Sometimes we spend a week going around on radio tour when we used to go on radio.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
So, you're sitting on a bus. I guess you can either play Xbox or you can, watch TV, or what we did, we pull out the guitars and say, what about this idea? So, some of the songs we've actually written on the bus. The other ones, it's more of a collaboration. Of course, Todd's written some on his own. I've written some on my own. And then sometimes, when we, if the song just doesn't come right out, we'll send it and say, hey, what do you think about this? It's gone for everywhere from Todd's basically had a song written in words and sent it to me and said, hey, can maybe you put the music to this and will you look at this and, hey, I need a bridge. So we've just kind of collaborated, throughout the process, and it seems to have worked real well. I guess the interesting part is that everybody would guess is when it gets to the time to release a single. That's some fun conversations where, well, hey, I like this song. Wait, did you write that song? Yeah. Okay. But it's truly, we have more people involved in picking singles that kind of work through the issue of, okay, well, But, I guess the first two albums, we used to write all of our songs. We've written every one of them with maybe exception of maybe one on each album that we either wrote or co-wrote with somebody. And then this last album was the first time that we actually took songs from some writers in Nashville and said, let's just make a great album. And not that we didn't have songs, but we just really wanted to put forth an album that every single on the album could be released to radio. And I think, in our minds, at least, we've accomplished that goal, that we've got a whole album where, a lot of the folks in Nashville say literally every song on this album. And the tough part is when you have to pick one for the next single.
Yeah. Well, and too, it's, when we started out first going to country radio seminar in February of every year at CRS, when we first come in, people were like, you're Smith and Wesson, who are you? And now, so this is our third album, and looking through, they know who we are. You've got, and now you've got songwriters who now are willing. I mean, when you, as a songwriter, that's all you do. You're very peculiar about which independent artist you give your song to. Are they going to be played on the radio? And Scott and I, Smith and Wesley, soon as one single's done, we're putting another one on it. And so, and because we're independent, we don't have to say, okay, you got 3 songs from this album, then you're doing a new album. No, if the songs are good, we'll like this upcoming, like the last one. And so we were fortunate that Bernie and Jacob just knew that they were willing to give us some of their songs and heard our songs in the past. So that's, for us, that's feels good when a songwriter is willing to do that for you.
That's good stuff. And speaking of Bernie, he's actually going to be on the podcast. I believe next week he's going to be on with us.
Yeah. So Bernie's got a few songs on this new album, Greetings from the Land of Y'all.
Now, who's maybe the biggest inspiration or maybe motivation for you, especially with what 2020 has been? Scott, ask you first.
The motivation for 2020?
Yeah, who's been your motivation in spite of 2020, I guess?
I guess it would have to be family members, and pick any of them, your wife, your kids, your mom, your brother, and really close friends, because, this is a strange time. And if I'm not one to just kind of quarantine by myself, I would go absolutely nuts. The only way I could quarantine is if it was in a tree stand for literally, every day, all day long for, a month or whatever you want to do. But I think it has to be family members that would probably, of course, above all that, it's probably it's God. I mean, without faith through all this, you can't do it alone. And so I would say faith and family.
And Todd?
Well, yeah, it's got pretty well hit all of it. But there is one thing, and for me, it's right in this past February at CRS, we got the Independent Artist of the Year award, and so that's not just a beauty pageant type award. That is, if as an independent, that means you had more spins on radio for the previous year than any other independent country artist. And for me, I look at that in February and say, well, that didn't just happen. We continue putting songs on the radio. We may not be able to tour to support the songs, but we do things like, talking to you through phone calls or Zoom calls or those kind of things. But it's just the realization that when we do get back to touring and get back to playing for people, that just didn't happen. That's still there. We still have that ability, and we still have that going on. So that's something I look to just say, okay, let's keep it on. So.
That's right. Well, pardon me. If folks want to keep up with not only the latest single, the entire album, upcoming tour dates, and all that, where's the best place to get all that stuff, guys?
Yeah, you can go to smithandwesley.com, and from there you can hit all our socials, where it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can go see all the videos that go with the songs. You can see a photo album from all the places we played. Up until, I guess, our last shows, they have another section for fans where they can go get their pictures downloaded for when they take with us there. So, but smithandwesley.com.
All right. Well, Scott and Todd, it's been great to get the chance to visit with you remotely, however we have to do it. That's we've had to change things up a little bit, but thank you guys for your time. And hopefully after this is all over and done, we'll see each other face to face.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope so. We look forward to it. You know, we miss the fans and we miss you guys. I think, Todd, last time we came from Oklahoma on a radio tour, we drove back in the snow. It was snowing when we came back on that. Well, and that's when we wrote Little Things, I think, wasn't it? Yeah. We wrote that on the way back.
On this
but
album,
we miss the fans and we miss you guys.
Yeah. So we've got a couple songs on this song we've written on the bus too. So go check them out on Greetings from the Land of Y'all.
All right. Well, Todd and Scott, thank you guys so much for your time.
All right.
Okay, stay safe, and we appreciate you guys.
Thank y'all.
All right, guys, our very next guest on the podcast, you might remember him from his days on The Voice, singer-songwriter, and he says he's not a blues guitarist. We'll let him show us his finger picking a little bit, if you will. Cody Belew on with us today. And first off, Cody, thanks for visiting with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me. And I'm so glad that we're reconnecting after all these years because, you know, it's one thing to reconnect and not have anything to talk about, but it's another when shit's going well.
I know, right? Now, you mentioned we visited, I believe it was 2012 when you were on The Voice. That was the first year I was doing some interviews with The Voice, and things have changed a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah. I came back home from to Nashville as soon as we wrapped, and just like anybody else that has had, you know, a little bit of success on that show, you're left wondering what to do next, you know, because you go from having this massive production behind you to execute your vision for 3 minutes at a time once a week. And when all that goes away, it's a really weird adjustment. It took me a while actually to sort of flush all that out of my system and know what was real and what was television. But it was a good, I guess, crash course for me, and to understand the process of television and the power of it, what it can do for you if you harness it. So I've taken all these years since then. I've not stopped working, obviously, but it's just something that you chip away at, and you hope and pray that somebody pays attention to what you're doing. And 2020 was the year. I mean, I know that it represents something totally different to everybody else, but I have been lucky. So that's the best way I know how to say it without rubbing everybody's nose in it.
So 2020 for you, what has been the bright spot for you? You talk about it being, I mean, everybody's got bright spots this year. I mean, you just have to look a little harder, it seems.
Sure. For me, I was telling you earlier, I have an upholstery business that I run out of my home. So I was already suited to working alone, working from home, being distant. I did wonder if people would sort of slow down on that type of stuff with the unknowns, but just like yard projects and house projects, people really leaned into that, and I've stayed really busy. But then all while that was going on, this newish label in town, their one artist at the time was Cree Harrison, and they called and wanted to talk, and I was just like, even up until we inked the deal, I was just like, these people have lost their minds. I don't know what they're thinking. But so we got started, trying to figure out how to work with this situation instead of against it. And I released 1,000 Miles from Nowhere, which is a Dwight Yoakam song from the 90s, a big hit for him. And I sort of slowed it down a little, made it more melancholy to reflect this sort of moment that we're in. And we had a lot of positive feedback from that. And then while that was sort of ramping up, Christmas music was not on the table. The power of Instagram, a random stranger sent me a message about discovering my work and liking my music and liking my voice. And I figured out that they were a writer, director, producer from LA who had a couple of movie credits for TV and already to his name. And so I just said, well, if you're ever looking for somebody with an inescapable Southern drawl for a part, let me know. And I said, think Reba McEntire in Tremors, which is only the best movie ever made. And he said, well, actually, I don't have anything on the docket now, but would you be interested in writing a pitch for a Christmas movie? And, I'm not going to turn anything down. He said, it's no guarantee, but if you can do it in the next couple of days, because we're already shooting, it would be for this line dancing scene. And if you'll send me a little work tape, I'll send it up the chain. And he sent it. They liked the pitch. They ordered the demo. And my producer, Skylar Wilson, and I tracked my vocals right in this room. And he called in some other talent. One person in particular is Janae Fleener, who is the reigning CMA instrumentalist of the year.
Wow. She's
a fiddle player, actually from Arkansas. All the people that I'm learning about from Arkansas now that are on, like, in the main current of country music is kind of bizarre. We've got the nuclear plant in Russellville, so I just wonder if something's in the water over there. But anyway, that's for somebody else to discover. But we produced this track and sent it over to Viacom just in time, and they didn't have a note, they didn't have a revision, they wanted it just the way that it was. And now I'm talking to you about it. It's on the radio everywhere. It's premiering on CMT on Friday. It's going to be on one of the jumbo screens in Times Square on Friday.
Wow.
The music video for it. And so it's just like this. And then the movie premieres Sunday. So they sent me an email last week with all this, like, each line was some huge monumental good news. And I was just like, y'all need to break this up and put it in separate emails, because I can't take all this in one go. So we've been really, really fortunate. I mean, the song itself is good. I love the song. I laughed my way through writing it because I just thought, if anybody likes this besides me. But, it really, I'm hoping that it has legs and will be one of those that we look back on and go, wow, that thing is around every year and makes him a ton of money.
There you go. That's the important part, right?
That's the most important part of Christmas.
Now, are you a Christmas music fan? Or are you one that kind of dreads Black Friday for the music?
No, I look forward to it. I like in my truck, I listen to the local all day Christmas music channel. And I prefer the channels. This one is like something mixed something. It's like a genre blend. I like when they'll pull the classics from all the genres, because I feel like Christmas is the genre. It doesn't need to be, country only or, the Beatles only, but I like it all. So it was not a difficult task for me to write a Christmas song. The brief was, it needs to sound like it goes along with Any Man of Mine, Shania Twain, and pour some sugar on me. And so I was just like, well, hell, how am I going to do that? But one of my all-time favorite songs is Don't Hand Me No Lines and Keep Your Hands to Yourself. And so that's kind of where I felt like, well, that already leans in those directions. So I'm just going to focus on this one. And so I just sort of sat down and for some reason, the song, You Can Leave the Light On or You Can Leave Your Hat On, it's by Joe Cocker. And then the song, All My Exes Live in Texas, that's why I hang my hat in Tennessee. I don't know why that came to my mind, but I just thought, you can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. And then the rest, I just sat down and wrote it in one go. So
Now, how long is a normal writing process for you? Say you get an idea and you sit down. Is it normally a quick write, or does it usually require a few extra settings, if you will?
Some of them, I'll say it's 50-50. Like some of them, my song Crimes that's out, I released it last year. You can download that anywhere. But that one I wrote it on an airplane in one go. The Christmas song, I wrote it in one go. But then I have others some of them are going to come out next year, but that I worked on for months and months and months, because I'll come up, if a hook or a line, a turn of phrase it just haunts me, and I can't crack where to take it either backwards or forwards. I know that it's one that I need to sit with. I don't try to force them. And I do most of my writing by myself, mostly because I just always have, and I always kept a full-time job while I tried to do music, because I never could give myself into that idea of being a starving artist and like sleeping on couches and living in vans. It just never, I like to have nice shit. So I worked all the time, and that kept me from being able to do a lot of day writes, because writers in Nashville, they work all day writing, and I was always at my own job. So I have had some successful co-writes. Rodeo is one that I did with Autumn McIntyre, who's got a lot of good hits out right now with artists. I think we took it down off the streaming services because we're going to release it next year with a bigger bang. When I put it out, it's one of the best songs on my record that's going to come out, but I was independent at the time, and if you ain't got money, then you ain't going anywhere.
And how cool is it now to have the backing behind you for the new release coming up?
It is like, I don't know how to describe it to somebody that's not in an artistic in an artist role trying to support your work. It is a total 180. It's like all the weights lifted. Before all of the stress and worry is anybody going to hear this? Is it going to be seen? But now I shift over to, okay, are these people understanding the vision? How much of this can I delegate when I've done it by myself all these years? Every cover of every record I've designed myself, save for a few that some friends helped me with. So even down to picking out fonts, I have trouble relinquishing that. And that was one of the first things that the label really understood, because some artists don't want to be a part of those little details, but for me, that they tried to do some things to take some of it off my plate, and then they were like, oh no, he's gonna have to be a part of this, because I just have such a clear and direct idea of where I want to go. And that's why I like working with them so much, because they've really just gotten fully behind whatever I want to do. Even down to the music video we just shot for the Christmas song. Santa's Pub here in Nashville is an iconic place. I don't know if you've ever
I've never been there, but I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a double wide trailer over by the fairgrounds. And it's been a bar since the 60s, I think, but nothing to speak of. It was just like a local hang. And then this guy named Santa, who, for all I know, that's his name. That's how he introduces himself. That's what everybody calls him. But he bought it and painted Santa's Pub, like literally with spray paint on the outside wall, hung some lights up, opened it. He serves beer out of an ice chest. He takes cash only, and it's a karaoke bar where you smoke in there. I mean, the ceilings are this high, and it's this much smoke along the ceiling. And It was voted #1 bar in the world by GQ magazine, and he's never paid for a single piece of advertising. And so everybody from the Oak Ridge Boys to Lady A have done videos somewhere in and around that place. And we just pulled up over there to take pictures out front for the cover of the song. Well, he comes out on the porch. I mean, it was during the day. He had been closed since March. He hadn't opened at all. This was going to be the year that he hit his $1 million mark in sales, which I can't even imagine selling that much beer out of an ice chest. But anyway, he shut the doors and didn't open at all. And he was just, happy to have us there to talk to. And before I knew it, he was in the front seat of this, whatever this Buick Oldsmobile, whatever this car is. I don't even know. And he's driving the car and I'm in the back seat. And then jump to a few weeks ago, he opened the place up just for us to have, we created a COVID village and everybody was tested right before we went in. And we just created Santa's Pub and had this party in there, this ugly Christmas sweater party, because that's referenced in the song. And did a line dance out in the parking lot. And I just, this whole thing has blown my mind wide open, for sure.
That's pretty awesome. Now, you've been leaning on the guitar there, and I said we were going to test if you were a blues guitarist. You're probably not going to try to test that, are you?
No, what I'm going to do is when it comes to the little solo section, I'm just going to do it like a kazoo.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
is that something that you want me to do now? You ready?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so this, for the folks listening, try not to, it might be best if y'all just go ahead and pull over if you're driving, because I don't want you to wreck your car. This is Hang Your Hat on My Christmas Tree, the one and only acoustic version coming to you right now on the podcast. Who the hell is calling? Did that come through on your end?
That did not.
Oh my God, it was like a siren. Let me turn this off. Everybody pause. This is how you do things when you don't know what you're doing.
I thought I was the only one that did it.
Airplane mode. Okay, here we go. Every creature is stirring at the party hop, popping all the bottles, drinking every last drop. The drummers are drumming, pipers getting line. Just a Jack Frost shouting, y'all, it's party time. Baby, it's the end, no, I'm talking, but I gotta tell the truth. That ugly Christmas sweater sure looks good on you. Call me Mr. Mistletoe, I'm handing kisses out for free. You can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. Hang your hat on my Christmas tree. Night and night, your secret Santa save me. Till the rain come and knocking, we ain't got no place to be. You can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. I just saw Donna and Vixen stepping out for air. Tiny Timothy and Jay and by the chimney with care. Mrs. Claus is sidestepping with her candy cane. You know that old saint, it can cause a sweeter rain. You got my head spinning like a tabletop. This is my night before Christmas. I don't ever want to stop. Go ahead and make a gingerbread man out of me. You can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. And hang your hat on my Christmas tree. Night and night, your secret Santa safe with me. Till the rain is coming, knocking, we ain't got no place to be. You can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. And hang your hat on my Christmas tree. Night and night, your secret Santa safe with me. Till the rain is coming, knocking, we ain't got no place to be. You can hang your hat on my Christmas tree. Ho, 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 ho.
The only acoustic version, the only place you're going to find it.
Yep, that's the only place it's going to live right there. It's going to be worth something, I think.
We can only hope, right? Now, Cody, if folks want to find out not only about the Christmas single, the upcoming music tour schedule, live dates, all that kind of stuff, where's the best place?
I think the best place right this second would be my Instagram, which is at Cody Belew. And then Facebook, which is facebook.com/Cody Belew. We really keep everything up to date there. My website is really just a holding place right now. You can go there and look at a really pretty picture if you want. But Instagram and Facebook are the places where, like I'm about to, we're going to release a lyric video tomorrow that a great illustrator in Morocco put together, which is going to be cool. So there's a lot of stuff coming out that is just, super cool. I can't even put it into words how crazy this time is.
Well, that is,
and that we're nearly 10 years of knowing each other.
I know. It's and it's been that long since we talked, so we can't make it. We got to make it shorter next time.
That's right. You'll have 15 dogs by then.
Yeah, there you go. And hey, they've been good today.
They have been good. I hadn't heard a peep.
I know. I'm gonna have to go check on them though. I'm sure. Well, Cody, it's been great to visit with you, man, and thank you for your time. And let's not make it 8 years next time.
Call me anytime. I'm happy to talk. Clearly, I'll talk all day.
That's awesome. Well, Cody, thank you for your time, brother.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Again, thanks for joining us for this episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, or anything else you'd like to know, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at GQwithCam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, feel free to click the support tab and follow the instructions. If you have a special guest idea, email me, gqwithcam@gmail.com. Again, thanks to our friend Brandon Allen for coming up with the theme music. I'm going to let him play a little extra for you as we wrap up the show today. We'll be back with a special Wednesday episode coming up tomorrow, including country Christian artist Zach Williams.